And welcome here to another edition of Husker Online Postgame Live. Sean Callahan, Steve Sipple, Robin Washington. As you heard Steve Sipple just say, ooh, that beer tastes good.
Oh,
and
God,
we're brought to you by Zipline Brewing, proud beverage sponsor of Husker Online Postgame Live. And a reminder, Thursday night, guess where we're going to be?
Where?
We're going to be at the Zipline Tap Room and Grill out in Fallbrook for a special edition of Husker Online Live. We want all of you to join us. Nebraska's 5-1, guys. We're going to talk football. It's a mid-season review. We're going to be set up on the patio.
Mid-season review.
They're going to have plenty of beer available. Canned beer outside to make it quicker. Inside, you can get what you want. Obviously, a full menu of food will be available. Tacos on special. So join us at Zipline. And if you're not, I hope you are drinking a Zipline. We are all drinking our post-game Zipline. We've been on the road for our last game, so we didn't get a post-game Zipline.
No, this will be fun. And 5-1's big.
Yeah, I thought about this. I'm like, man, if they can just be 5-1, Thursday night's going to be a lot of fun. There's obviously a lot still to talk about, but they're 5-1.
Yeah, and let's just get down to it, guys. I mean, I'm bottom line oriented, and I think in sports that's generally the way you should be. They won the game. They're 5-1. They're 2-1 in the Big Ten. They closed out another Big Ten team in a tough game. They did it on the road last week. They did it at home this week. I'm not in the business of trying to mitigate down the significance of this win. It was huge. We talked about it going into the game, why it was big. Rutgers was 4-0. Here's what we do. We give Schiano all this credit. We give Kyle Monangai all this credit. So after the game, I'm not going to say, well, Rutgers isn't that good. No, they're good. They're tough. They got a tough head coach. They got a tough running back. And Nebraska.
You knew what they were going to do.
And Nebraska got a hellacious tough defense at times. I mean, they really dug in today. I mean, It was holding Kyle Monangai to 78 yards is a victory. That is a victory.
As you call them, Kyle, that guy.
Yeah. He's a good running back. And they held him to 14 yards on his final 11 carries. Yeah. That is hellacious defense.
Well, let's keep in mind, this is a Rutgers team that was undefeated coming in and riding their own wave of momentum
nearly ranked
into this game, nearly ranked. And 3 of the, 5 college game day prognosticators picked Rutgers to win this game. Including Nick Saban.
Well, and Desmond Howard, no surprise.
Yeah, you just take that one.
I mean, he hates Nebraska. Like, it's established.
He's not really an analyst, is he?
Yeah,
would you call him an?
He is. Yeah, you can call him that, I guess.
Desmond?
Yeah.
All he does is game day. I've never seen him be a color analyst for a game. Right. He just talks crap about Nebraska on game day.
Okay, so to the point, though, this was a game that Nebraska, I mean, we talked about this in the week, too, about obviously there was a degree of difficulty this game, but there was also a significant opportunity for this one. And obviously going to the bye week with a win and having 2 more weeks of positivity and good vibes around the program, along with getting a week off to get healthy after 6 straight games. This is probably one of the later bye weeks in the Big Ten this year.
It's a double bye year.
Yeah. So, Nebraska's in a good spot right now, and they took advantage of the opportunity. It wasn't the prettiest by any stretch of the imagination, but they did it, and they're 5-1. And that, again, is one more sign of progress that this team has made.
Yeah, there's a lot of numbers that jump out, but for the second half, Nebraska's offense really struggled. I mean, I think it's well established. Dylan Raiola was just 2 of 9 for 14 yards in the second half with an interception, and he was sacked 3 times. He was 11 of 18 for 120 in the first half, no picks. Nebraska had just the 1 turnover. But clearly Rutgers adjusted. They did something to kind of change the look that Dylan was getting, because what he was seeing just wasn't there. And then the pressure was also confusing Nebraska. And I think Dylan they got him out of sorts. And Greg Schiano is a good defensive head coach. They brought something different, and Nebraska had a hard time really getting into a flow where, it was a big day for the running backs. You look at the running backs, 33 carries for 124 yards and a touchdown for Nebraska's key 3 running backs.
See, that's not bad.
No, and that's what you knew it was going to be. Greg Schiano wanted to make this a New Jersey alley fight. It was not going to be a beauty contest.
Yeah, there were times I thought Nebraska should have stuck with the run more. It's right now the offense is still in a bit of, it's kind of trying to find itself, I think, a little bit. And I thought it found something on the ground today, but didn't stick with it enough, in my opinion.
Well, I think the issue was their first and second down runs weren't getting them anything. So they were constantly in third and long. So you only get so many cracks at it. In the second half, they ran 19 times for 11 yards. Now that's sack adjusted,
On the first,
obviously, in the second half.
in the second half.
So, I mean, I think they wanted to run the ball. They tried to
Okay.
run the ball.
All right, that's
But
good.
the lack of first down and second down success kind of threw them out of rhythm a little bit. And like Sean said, Dylan just didn't look comfortable.
Guys, Nebraska had 55 yards in the second half. Just 55 yards
Well, here's the thing with that.
as a team.
When they're not having success on first down running the ball, and they're continually in 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10, that puts pressure on Dylan, and because the defense, it simplifies things. They can get after the quarterback much easier. And as Rule mentioned in his press conference, Shiano is an excellent defensive coach. And it's not simple. We always have these discussions in the offseason. We need to carry him into the season. This is a great coaching conference. They're not dialing up simplistic blitzes.
No.
They're doing things up front that maybe Dylan's never seen before. So
It's two former NFL head coaches coaching in the Memorial Stadium.
great point.
A Carolina Panthers coach was a Tampa Bay Buck. I mean, these are Sunday guys coaching on Saturdays now. I mean, they
Right.
coach. I mean, so this is not, as I made the joke. I mean, early years in the Big Ten, there were coaches on the sideline that couldn't play dead in a Western.
Right.
And Nebraska would, you'd go out to Purdue and some of these places early
Early on.
and you knew Nebraska was going to win. That is not the case. I mean, look at Indiana, look at Rutgers, look at
Right.
Illinois. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
the league is tough. Look at Washington's doing with a new head coach already. I mean, Michigan State gave Oregon they hung with Oregon. UCLA hung at times with Penn State today.
Penn State pulled away. But, yeah, you're right, Sean. All that money equates into well-paid staffs and excellent head coaches, and you see it on Saturdays. So I'd say, I mean, it was an excruciating win if you're a Nebraska fan. It can be hard to watch. It looked like, you kind of had those thoughts of Rutgers had the momentum late in that game until Boom Sheeny nailed that 69-yarder and pinned him at its 11.
Are you calling him Boone Sheeny now?
Yeah, I'm back to Boom Sheeny. He had a great game.
MVP.
Yeah. Tony White or Boom Sheeny. And he hit that thing down to the 11. And now Rutgers is in trouble. They're going into the win with the 97th ranked passing offense in the country.
With one timeout.
With a quarterback who's not very accurate, and you're playing a defense that is good. It's a good. It's back. I'm going back to this is a very good defense because the last 2 weeks it was very good. And you heard Ty Robinson say against Illinois we weren't happy.
Mhm.
We said it. We drove home that point. They didn't play that well against Illinois. Last 2 weeks though, they hold Maccabee to 11 carries or 13 carries for 41 yards, and then come back with this. No way did I envision this. I think Sean did though.
I called my prediction was Monagai under 100.
That was a
And I didn't feel good about it in the first quarter.
Well, because he had 8
70
carries
in
for
the first
60.
quarter.
He looked like
I think he had eight rushes for 64 yards
in the first quarter.
in the first quarter. So no, it didn't look good at the time, but that's a ballsy pick, Sean. That's a ballsy pick. It is.
Well, I know how good Ty and Nash are when they're fresh.
Yeah.
And you kind of saw Nebraska, Robin, substituting early where they wouldn't, I want to say give up downs, but they gave up some downs with younger players out there than to bring in Nash and Ty for third down.
Yeah, they'd bring in their closers with their top guys on third down, or as Dries went forward, and a lot of that, I think, that's what they've been doing all season. So they've been rotating heavily, also. But I wonder how much of it too was just with the conditions being what they were. Like being fresh in the trenches was even more of a priority today
because
than it would be because
the
of
hottest
heat.
game in 40 years at Memorial Stadium.
Hottest game in
97.
And then
Yes.
the strangest winds, the wind direction literally changed, Robin, from the first half to the second half. It went from the south to the north, which is why Matt Rule wanted the ball first so then he could make the decision on the wind. And that's a Kirk Ferentz move. That's what Iowa does. They'll take the ball first just so they can make the decision on the wind.
Yeah, and the players and even Rule said after the game that the heat wasn't nearly the factor that people maybe thought it would be. It was the wind. Like that screwed up people's game planning. They had to adjust in special teams. It messed with passing games. Like that was a much more significant hurdle to have to try to overcome as far as the elements are concerned.
Well, how about the fake punt with Buschini? Woo! So Rutgers was bringing 10.
Okay.
And they had a return man back.
This was in the third quarter?
Third quarter.
You know, if you have gunners out on the play,
third.
So Nebraska only had 8, theoretically blocking 10.
Okay.
You know, because they had gunners out and the punter back. And so they had to make the decision. I mean, they got 2 punts blocked because they didn't bring people in to block on the edges, and they realized they're not going to cover our gunners, and they called the fake. Buschini said they actually at halftime went out to the grass practice fields and they practiced the fake at halftime.
You're kidding me. You are God dang, Rule is something else, isn't he?
They went out to the grass. And I said, did you go on that turf strip there? Because they have that little turf field. He goes, no, we went on the grass so we could throw it the correct direction.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
And
that is some high level coaching.
Well, and Brett Maher's presence, I think, should be noted too. You could like pregame
out to the grass field.
Brett Maher was working with Buschini right before the band came out. They were the last people on the field, and they actually executed that same punt that he punted in the fourth quarter.
Okay, back to the fake though, Sean. 13 threw a dart. Like that was a great pass.
It was.
I couldn't believe it. Actually, hit him in stride, and then Buschini afterwards says, "Yeah, I've been working on my arms since my freshman year."
But his first pass ever in a game.
Wow. He expressed confidence in his arm.
Yeah.
How close was he to scoring? I mean, I didn't get it.
No.
They got it pretty quickly.
And then Nebraska didn't score off of
it. They
it.
punted again.
Flipped the field. I mean, Nebraska
that was the most important part of it.
Nebraska flipped the field on that.
All right, guys. Well, we are piling up super chats.
How we doing?
37 in the queue.
Whew.
So I wanted to get just through. I like to get our opening thoughts. Let us breathe. This is I mean, what's fun about doing this show with Robin and Sip, this is the first time we actually sit down and talk about the game.
Yeah.
So we sit down, we get a zip line, and we talk about the game. And you guys join in with us. It's a lot of fun. It's become our most engaged piece of content we do on Husker Online. So we enjoy doing it. We're not only brought to you by Zipline, our official beverage sponsor of Husker Online Postgame Live, also Ellerbrock-Norris. They've been helping Nebraska business owners protect their purpose for over 120 years. With risk management solutions built for local businesses, Ellerbrock-Norris partners with you on commercial insurance, group benefits, business exit planning, safety, and more. Start thinking long-term with your business and create a risk management strategy to protect it. Are your employee benefit costs going through the roof? Talk to Ellerbrock. Are workplace injuries skyrocketing your workers' compensation costs? Talk to Ellerbrock. Hoping to retire in the next 10 years and sell the business to family, key employees, or even a friendly competitor? Talk to Ellerbrock. Ellerbrock-Norris is helping you protect your purpose, whether it's your business and the employees in it, your life outside of work, or your future retirement goals. Head to ellerbrocknorris.com/HuskerOnline today to get your free risk evaluation. Thank you to Ellerbrock-Norris. Gentlemen, let's get into the super chats. Christopher Diaz comes in with a comment. MVP goes to Buschini and James Williams, who had 2 sacks and 2 hurries on the defense. And then he follows up. Chris has another comment. Where did the offense go wrong today? I don't know if it was just one thing. I mean, I think they were having issues, guys, up front. I mean, and I think Dylan was also not seeing what he wanted to see, and he was holding the ball longer.
Yeah, they didn't get much done up front today. Now, but Sean, you referred to those. The running back run game wasn't terrible, but in the second half, it kind of went away.
They were good situationally, though, in the first half. When they brought Mazuka in with the fullback, they were like 4 for 4 on those plays.
Right. So second half, the offense went south. That's where the defense really dug in. And you got to give a shout out to James Williams. Now he's playing like within the program, they've talked about James Williams for months, how good he is, what kind of year he had, how he can be unblockable at times. Well, now we're starting to see it the last few games.
4 sacks over his last 2 games.
Yep. Yeah. See, now here you go. I mean, that's why they call him Sack Man.
He is tied with Ty Robinson for the team lead on the season, and also tied with MJ Sherman with 4 quarterback hurries. He's not a starter.
Just a sophomore.
Yeah. So you're starting to see it. And you know what? You know what that is, guys? That's development. They're developing a player. They're developing a player before your eyes. That happens a lot. We always
Hasn't happened
beg
enough
for it.
around here.
It hasn't happened enough in recent years, but you're starting to see it in this program.
Mhm.
You're seeing players develop before your eyes.
Sierra Wright.
No doubt.
Sierra Wright, yeah, that's kind of an example. That
He hasn't really been developed here. He's
But
been
right,
here
just
not
since
Sierra
August.
Wright, yeah. There's probably some.
But putting Jeremiah Charles out there in key moments, that
Right.
takes confidence.
That's
Mario Buford comes out there on key
100.
plays.
yeah,
All right.
you're starting to see it.
Soggy Muffin Bandit, always a super chat
always
fixture. Wasn't pretty, but a win is a win. Now, what is the correct pronunciation of the word Caribbean?
It's either
Caribbean or
That's true.
Caribbean?
Caribbean.
Caribbean or Caribbean? I'm a Caribbean guy.
Caribbean is the like local pronunciation.
Caribbean.
Caribbean.
Thank you, Rob.
And why is simple wrong? Laughing out loud. Kidding. So much love. Go Big Red.
Thanks,
I'm
Soggy.
not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
Is it Jordan or Jordan?
It's Jordan.
Is it Monagai or that guy?
It's we're going with Moning.
Oh, wait. Manungai.
Yeah.
God, Manungai. I just butchered
Let's
it.
say
Yeah,
eighth and
it's fine.
Kaliakmanis too.
What's that?
Let's say eighth and Kaliakmanis.
Kaliakmanis. Boy, he's
Well,
still
we're
shit.
done having to copy and paste that last. I mean, there's certain names in this job that you just don't want to like learn, like the spell, and it's just like a copy and paste every time.
Just wait till basketball season.
Yeah.
All right. Husk for life. This will be known as the Brian Buschini game.
Yep.
Defense made big stops. Raiola was bad today. Satterfield should have ran it more. Hire Bill Bush for special teams. Good win. Go Big Red.
No questions for Rule. I noticed about Foley
Yeah, we'll get him on Monday. I think that's probably the better time than
after a win.
minutes after a win to improve to 5-1 is who are you going to fire? Like,
People are going to wonder about it.
yeah,
They're 5-1.
That's a Monday question.
I have a little trouble now. I have a little trouble with firing a coach on a 5-1 team.
But
Okay.
that being said, what is it? 5 block kicks in 5 games?
Yeah.
That's
That's 5 block kicks.
No,
That's trouble.
Schiano has 73 in his career.
Okay, it's not only 5 block kicks in 5 games. Across the board, statistically, Nebraska special teams have been almost exclusively bad across the board, except for a couple places.
I mean, she was 5 in 2 games, right? They had 3 against Purdue and 2 today.
Okay.
5 block kicks in 2 games.
Okay, that's a problem.
That's
The
a
operation,
disaster.
the operation for the PATs today was fixed.
Yeah,
Buschini, in some ways, saved Foley a lot of pain,
yes, he did.
and the defense, in a lot of ways, saved Foley a lot of pain. Buschini, though, he has Buschini to thank, because that's part of special teams, and it was strong.
You
Okay?
really wondered if Buschini was out of the game at that point when he got tackled on that first fake or
And he was
first punt.
down.
Mhm.
I mean, his back, it was a back injury, but it did not look good.
No, he didn't say much about it in the post game.
He said he was fine. That was first question, how he was feeling. He said, I'm fine. And he didn't like have any like wrap or ice on his back, at least one that was visible. So that's encouraging.
What a performance. Look at his numbers. 5 punts, averaged 50 yards, tough day to punt, and he just manned up.
Did.
I mean, he just really manned up.
Absolutely.
All right.
Senior.
The BA Coaches Show comes in. I love football again. I also need Sip to come on the BA Coaches Show. He's killed it on Sharp and Hanley. I'm there Monday mornings. Go Big Red boys. Thank you for your comments.
Yes, thank you.
Let's go to 100, Sean. A win is a win. It is irresponsible for me to blame Dylan's INT on the high snap. So there was a high snap on the INT play. Would love to hear your thoughts on why the offense went ice cold. And
Dylan's numbers again?
2 of 9, 14 yards,
In the second half.
three sacks in a pick in the second half.
Completed 48% on the day.
First time we've seen Dylan really struggle.
Yeah.
Again, it's a tough defense. It's a tough day to throw. Okay. It's hotter than hell. You're facing
A swirling wind.
a premier defensive coach on the other sideline in Schiano. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, and the snap was high on his pick, but at the same time, I think it goes back to him just not seeing the field very well today. Like he didn't look comfortable like he had earlier this
Oh, he
season.
didn't.
That pick, he just didn't see the defender. The defender just dropped. He threw it right to him. Like to me, the snap may have flustered him a little bit, but that was probably the most glaring example of an otherwise just kind of off day for and we talked about this too. We're talking about how this was his like worst game. Like, just put that in perspective. Like, this would have been like an average game for a Nebraska quarterback last year, and we're talking about this being like this reason for concern for Dylan having this big step back. Like, for a true freshman,
I'm not concerned.
yeah, I mean, this I see this as far more of an outlier than I do a concerning
I'm not concerned,
trend.
but I think he needs an off week to
He does.
regroup. I think everybody,
does.
but everybody does, of course, we do. But a freshman quarterback, and now you're in the Big Ten, and it's tougher. The life is so much tougher than playing UTEP. I mean, it is. You see, I just look out there, Sean, during the game. I look out at Rutgers defense, and it is grown man time. I mean, that is a rough looking D, man.
Those safeties.
Just body wise, the structure of the bodies. You're in a different world.
It's New Jersey. I mean,
Yeah.
they have tough football
Big
players.
dudes, big tough dudes. Yeah, I mean,
They don't want to play pretty football. I mean, they want a game like this game where they block punts and they get after you. I mean, and they have their safeties were huge.
They're big old safeties. They are like linebackers, long, tough guys. I mean, I love the Big Ten. It's not pretty. It's not always pretty, but it's a tough physical league.
That's probably an 8-4 type Rutgers team.
Yeah.
I mean, their schedule is great. They could go 9-3. I mean, they have an unbelievable schedule.
I will not
Look at their schedule. Okay, they got Wisconsin and UCLA. Probably games they're favored in. They're at home for both. They go to USC. They got Minnesota. They'll be favored against Minnesota.
Yes.
Maryland's a swing game.
Yeah.
I mean, what game on there?
Oh my God,
is a for sure loss.
Yeah. That they do like an.
I mean, USC is probably the one they're bigger dogs in. But look, I mean, they might make that game ugly too.
Yeah,
like they could easily get 8 or 9 wins.
They won at Virginia Tech. Don't. I'm not going to do that. And I know some fans are going to do this. Some media guys are going to do it. Don't diminish this win. This team won at Virginia Tech.
And Virginia Tech should have beat Miami.
Yeah, I don't want to hear Sipple. Rutgers is terrible. They're terrible. No, they're not terrible. They play an ugly style, but they're not terrible. No, they're not terrible.
I mean, and you got to people just have a really poor grasp of what this all is now. It's hard.
Yes. Some people do.
Like, this is not the Big 8 of 1989.
No, it's hard.
Where you could just show up and steamroll Iowa State.
Right. Or Woody Woodenhofer. He brought some Missouri teams in here that were just awful.
Or like the game was over on the first play of the game.
It wasn't even a game. I'd walk over. I remember distinctly guys walking over for those games and just thinking, who am I writing about? Like, what third or fourth string Nebraska guy am I writing about in the second half? They'll come out in the second half and play really well because he'll get a bunch of snaps and he'll be the buzz around the state. That's what it was. There was no real game to cover.
All right. Gilly Apollos, thank you for your super chat. Back to 100, Sean. Keep up the great work, guys. Excited for the live show Thursday. I can't wait to get the Harley ride. Hammer down, Sip. So the running joke is Steve Sipple may or may not bring the Harley.
I may. It's going to be nice.
It's north. It's on Big Drive.
Yeah. Now listen, it is October today, 5th?
And we can arrange. Ethan Clark and Garen and our friends over at Zipline. We can arrange it where you could probably drive that Harley like right up to it.
Well, Sean, I'm not going to make a big show
of it. I want like a Kenny Powers type interest.
Not Evil Knievel. Here's the thing.
Who?
But it's you know who Evil Knievel is?
Okay, that's I thought.
October 5th. Okay, when you have a Harley, you're just. When it gets to be October, you're just praying for days you can ride. Here we are in October, and it's going to be warm again. It's going to be 80s all week. So, yeah, I'll probably take it out to Zipline. What are you looking at, Sean? You watching the Dodgers?
Game,
yeah, he's locked into this Dodger game.
Look at Mike Scotia over there. Is that how you say it?
Socia.
Yeah,
the Dodgers just got thrown out at home.
Oh, darn.
Otane's already got a home run, but okay. I'm looking forward to the live show.
Yeah.
Again, 6:00 at Zipline. At the tap room. That's our official sponsor here of our post-game live show, our official beverage sponsor. We hope you are enjoying a Zipline, and we hope you'll come in and enjoy one with us Thursday night. We'll probably all be there around 5 o'clock or so.
Starts at what?
6 is on the show.
Yeah.
And then we'll be there afterwards. The whole crew, Abby will be there, Greg, Carter, Joseph. We'll have our entire staff there. So great opportunity to get a free Harley ride from Sip.
Not you.
Ladies are welcome.
Yeah, no guys has gotten on the back of my Harley. Good God.
All right. Scott's Tots. Frustrated that once again the offense disappears in the second half. Did Nebraska keep it close for the sake of saying they can win a close game. Props to the D shutting down Manungai after his impressive first quarter.
Did Nebraska keep it close for the sake of saying no, they didn't. They would have liked to. Oh, now when was it? Help me, guys. I'm like Rule. The game's moving fast. They had after the fake punt, they had a great chance to go up 21-zip.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that's what was going to happen. Boomshini hits Jalen Lloyd downfield. They have good field position inside Rutgers territory. And I thought, here it is. They're gonna put this game away right here. 21-zip. They couldn't move the ball from there. Because couldn't move the ball.
And field goal kicking today for both teams was really a non-factor.
Yeah.
The run that Rutgers missed, I was told it looked like it was perfectly straight. I was talking to one, and the wind literally moved it.
Yep.
I mean,
it's really hard conditions in Memorial Stadium. I happen to sit by a former special teams coach every day in my radio show, and he says it's really hard. You go out before the game and try to kind of figure out how the wind's blowing, but it's complicated.
And Bushini said that was not only did he adjust well, but he thought Rutgers punters and field goal kicker too did not adjust well, and that a lot of their touchbacks were because they weren't playing the wind correctly. And so, again, I think that's why the wind was a much bigger X factor in this one than the heat.
And then you have a guy like Maher that's punted in the stadium that he can give his feedback to Bushini as well. I mean, they have
no doubt, Sean.
I mean, it makes a difference.
And you see Brett Maher, you kind of made mention of this earlier. It's really amazing to watch Maher, how engaged he is with the kickers and the punter. He's always out there with them. I mean, I noticed it embarrassingly. I noticed it really early in the season. I just didn't know who it was out there. I just noticed this guy with kind of longer black hair, always talking to the kickers. I didn't know it was Maher.
He told Maher on that last punt to the 11, he goes, "You have a chance to put a dagger in this game."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was his words.
And that it was rare for a punter to be able to be the dagger.
And it was the
Bushini
dagger.
was the dagger.
It was the dagger. He had a 69-yarder, rolls to the 11. And then Rutgers is, like I said earlier, really difficult now. Really difficult because you're facing a revved up defense.
Kaliamont, he's limited.
He's limited, but it's a tough situation for any quarterback.
I just kind of shorted it. I just did kind of like a half chip swing at that one. Just kind of.
You don't have to say anymore after tonight.
He's pretty limited. What was his final numbers? I got it.
Oh, they weren't good.
I mean, he had a touchdown, but they were as
15 to 37.
He threw 22 incompletions.
41%.
Yeah.
All right. Before we take it into more super chats, thank you again for joining us on HuskerOnline Post Game Live. We are brought to you by CHI Health and Pediatric Place at St. Elizabeth's here in Lincoln. Children are little, but emergencies are not. We know that accidents and illnesses do not wait until 8 a.m. That's why CHI Health St. Elizabeth offers Lincoln's only ER for kids, Pediatric Place. It's located on the west side of CHI Health St. Elizabeth next to their ER. It's open 24/7 for pediatric emergency care. It offers child-friendly rooms and a private waiting area to help put kids at ease. Feel free, an expert staff as well to help work with children as well. To learn more about Lincoln's only ER for kids, visit chihealth.com/pediatric place. Thank you to CHI and Pediatric Place at St. Elizabeth's for sponsoring us here on HuskerOnline Post Game Live. Okay, back to the super chats. Let's see. The Big Meatball. Go Big Red. Another struggle win, but we won. Rule has the best of both worlds. He gets a win, but still gets to chew the guys out a little bit and make them better.
Oh, yeah.
Special teams needs a big rework this bye week. And
it's always easier to coach after a win, though. Always.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to go to work Monday at 5-1.
Yeah, and I get that feeling, guys, that this staff is coaching its ass off. I mean, that's what you told me about going out to the grass and practicing that pass for a fake punt.
Mm-hmm.
That's just extra effort. I think that what Rule does on the field before the games, he'll play it down. But when they all get they circle around two guys. You bring out two of your
call it the bull ring.
The bull ring. You bring out two of your physical dudes.
Mazuka won against Ty Robinson.
Okay, you bring out Mazuka.
They could charge tickets for that. I think people.
Yeah,
would pay
you
to
bring
watch
out Mazuka to square off in a physicality drill versus Ty Robinson. That gets their blood flowing. It gets our blood flowing in the press box. How do you think it gets the kids' blood's flowing Now, Rule, again, he'll play it down, but he's getting the blood flowing. I mean, that's coaching. That's what that is.
Yeah, and I think
He can play it down. I'm not going to play it down.
there's something to him bringing it out now, too, because this was not something he did all of last year or even for the first part of this season. He said it's been since Temple since he's done this. And I think that he saw that this team needed something. It needed to get kicked in the butt a little bit. And I think it's a small way in maybe the grand scheme of things, but it's another effort to try to get things going and get your team's mind right going into a game.
All right, we're over 1,700 live viewers, so thank you to all of our live viewers joining us here. Let's go to Levi. Saw Robin exiting the stadium, managed to say hello.
What's up, Levi?
I wanted to ask how come Vincent Shavers was wearing number 1 and Jamari Butler number 10. So this was a decision made by Jamari Butler. He wanted to go back to his old number 10, and I don't know if he had some bad juju or bad vibes wearing number 1 and just wanted to go back to where he began his career, but he gave up the single digit to a true freshman.
Yeah, no reason beyond that. It was just his preference, and maybe that's just his number. And again, yeah, some guys are superstitious. Some jersey numbers are a big deal, especially with some players more than others, and maybe just wanted to go back to that. And I don't think it has anything to do with his single-digit leadership or anything like that, so I wouldn't read into it anything beyond he just wanted to wear number 10 again.
How about Shavers?
Yeah.
Vincent Shavers playing
How about
a lot.
McGahee?
Yeah.
All those young guys.
Okay, key moment. Me and Robin are watching a game. Key moment in the fourth quarter. They have McGahee out there.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Riley Van Poppel
Van
played
Poppel's
his third
playing.
game.
Wow. I mean,
Malachi Coleman.
Malachi Coleman
and he almost blocked a punt on the
he
rugby guy because, Malachi was an unbelievable punt blocker in high school.
is that right?
I believe.
And they had him coming off the edge, and on the rugby
Barely
guy,
missed
he
it.
missed it by an
Barely
inch.
missed it. He knew it too.
And that was his first action of this redshirt year. So I was happy to see Malachi out there.
Oh,
'Cause it's had to have been a long year for him not to be out there.
Yeah, it was good to see him. I wish he would have gotten that.
Mm.
That ball rolled to like the 2, by the way.
Yes.
Sucked. But seeing those McGahee and Shavers and Mario Buford you mentioned earlier.
Keona Davis.
Keona Davis going out. And these guys are going out in key moments.
Jeremiah Charles, too. I mean,
Oh,
look
how
at the
big
young
that
guys
is.
across the board at all 3 levels playing
Who's
significant snaps.
Sua,
Yeah, Sua Lefotu.
Lefatu. Out
Lefatu.
key moments. And this isn't garbage time stuff. This is when the game's in the balance.
There
is
was no
huge.
garbage time
No,
today.
there wasn't. Sean, do you understand? That is huge for the future. I mean, just gigantic.
Well, yeah, and this is an old team where you've got to get younger guys ready to step in, too.
I'd say Rule to coax this team to 5-1 has not been easy. Yeah, I mean,
They've played through a lot of warts.
Yep.
And I think Colorado was even better than we realized.
Yep.
I mean, that win, and Illinois we know was better than we realized.
Mhm.
And Purdue's Purdue. Purdue is struggling.
Purdue, they suck, but they're terrible. I mean, but
You hate Purdue.
oh god, I do. But Rutgers is a tough team. I just eyeballing Rutgers, you're just like, oh god. This
They were still not as good as Illinois. Illinois was more complete.
Not as good.
No, Altmaier was far better.
The receivers
Were far better. And Illinois' defense was pretty good too.
I'll take Rutgers defense though.
Over Illinois.
Yes.
Rutgers had the number 2 red zone defense in the country.
Yeah, I'll take Rutgers.
Nebraska was 2 for 2 in the red zone.
Yeah, I'll take
So for all the offensive hand-rigging, which a lot of it's deserved, they did enough. They scored touchdowns early, and it set the tone.
There's still some scary stats out there. I mean,
yeah.
Washington put 521 yards on Rutgers.
Yeah,
Nebraska put 200 some. It's scary. It's a little scary.
it is.
All right. Randy's Reddick. Go Big Red. In solid Nebraska fashion, our Cornhuskers did just enough to almost lose. I was thankful to see 2023's defense come back. And look, Randy, the point spread of this game was just 7 points. I think there's this misnomer that Nebraska was supposed to win this game 42-7.
Right.
Like everybody knew all of our predictions were like what this score was. Maybe a little higher, like in the 20s.
Yeah.
But nobody was ever thinking Nebraska would win by much more than 10 if they won. Like 10 was going to be a nice win.
I said 23-16, and I've said all week, Sean and Rob, I said there's going to be a lot of tension. There'll be a lot of tension.
Mhm.
I just gave Rutgers respect. And now, but it is good. He mentioned the defense. Yeah, I think the black shirts are kind of rounding back into form. Okay, that's good. You have to figure that Dylan will be okay.
Yeah.
Going forward. If you have the black shirts going, you still have, I think Dylan will be fine. The running game did show a little bit today. The running game showed a little bit. You're seeing some progress. You don't see him put it all together very often.
They have
Nebraska.
not really done it.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of the
Indiana or
tune-ups
Purdue
to start the game.
Purdue second half.
Oh, well, not all second.
Yeah,
I'd say
like fourth quarter.
Quarter and a half.
But for a start to finish full team effort, we haven't seen.
Look at that second half, though. How many punts in a row?
Yeah.
God.
When they had all those opportunities to just kind of put the nail in the coffin, they let Rutgers hang around. And credit to special teams for keeping the field position under control, and then the defense for slamming the door.
Oh, God, the defense. We haven't even mentioned that period where Rutgers blocks a punt. Rutgers gets the ball at the 2. Nebraska's 2, holds them out of the end zone. Rutgers punts it, gets its next possession at the 28 of Nebraska. Nebraska holds again.
8 plays for negative 16 yards.
That's it, Sean. 8 plays for negative 16. And that sequence was gigantic. And
that was the game.
That was a flex by Tony White's guys.
And this defense has not allowed a rushing touchdown all year through 6 games.
Wow.
And sometimes you're like, is that kind of a fluke? No, it's not a fluke. I mean, Kyle Monungai,
tried him.
The leading runner in the Big Ten, the leading rusher, who is an all Big Ten NFL level back, could not get in the end zone on the 1 yard line. On the 1 yard
line. They had 5 plays from inside Nebraska's 5. Didn't get it.
They tried him. No, Tony White's crew, take a bow. You held them out at the 2 yard line.
6 games, 0 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, that's amazing. With the Big Ten's best running back, you somehow kept them out of the end zone. That gives me the chills. That's hard to do. Do you know how hard that is? It's really hard. That's so impressive.
Now, I want to go to the super chat here. Gilly Polis, aside from the Purdue game, Nebraska averages 6 points per game right now in the second half this season, including the 2 shutouts. And he's right. Colorado, Nebraska scored no points.
It's pretty conservative. The play calling gets pretty conservative in the second half.
Yep.
I don't know what to think about that, except you're leaning on your defense, right?
And it's fine to be conservative if you're producing with those conservative runs, but the fact that they're having such limited first down run success, I mentioned this earlier, but like that really puts you behind the 8 ball. When you're bottling up your offense already, and then your limited play calling isn't producing anything, you're basically just like planning on going 3 and out, which leaves you open to some stressful moments down the stretch like we saw tonight.
Yeah, 100.
All right, let's move it into the next super chat here. Where am I at here? Let's see. Mr. Mitchell Jr., did Nebraska's win look impressive enough to have a ranked game next week at Indiana? And are we back? Love all that you guys do. Go Big Red. Look, there's 2 weeks now for that game. So I do think 2 weeks from now, this will be ranked unranked. And we did see a lot of teams in the top 25 lose today. Okay. Like lower back of the top 25 teams have already lost. I don't know if Robin, you can pull up some of the losses today in the top 25, but there were
UNLV, who's 25th, they lost.
Okay, keep going.
Michigan, number 22, Louisville lost.
I'm sorry,
number 22, Louisville lost.
Okay. Kansas State plays Colorado, so like that could it's in Boulder tonight.
Michigan's 10th.
Number 1,
losing.
Alabama lost.
Yeah.
Minnesota's tied with USC right now with under 2 minutes left in the game, 17-17.
Wow. See,
Washington's beaten Michigan. Arkansas is down a point in the fourth quarter to number 4 Tennessee with the ball.
Anyway, I mean, what's that Minnesota USC score?
17.
See, it's a good example of what the Big Ten is right now.
Yeah, you can't act stuck up anymore about a game.
Thank you, Sean.
Like there's just you can't understand what this is. Like it's freaking hard.
Right.
Like Sip said, it's bottom line. Did you win? Yes, it's a success.
Greg Schiano's not making $5 million or $6 whatever he's making to get his butt kicked.
Right.
Like they're gonna play at a high level.
Yep. And they're good. I mean, they got good personnel. They're a tough team. Big tough team.
All right, David Jorgensen. I know the win is important, but man, I am in the camp that maybe some upgrades to the staff are needed. Running back, wide receiver, special teams coach need to be looked at. Running backs are average. Wide receivers can't block or get open, and special teams is a joke. And look, David, there's a lot to chew on here at the bye week.
Wait a second. Running backs run really hard. I'm going to say that. Those guys are not the most talented crew, but my God, they run hard. They fight for every yard. That's really all I
And
have.
the fact that there's 3 that play, it's competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, they push each other.
They do.
And, I'm sure Gabe Urban's really hurt right now because he wants to be out there too.
Yeah.
It strikes me odd that we're talking about firing 3 position coaches on a 5-1 team.
No, it's inappropriate. That's what that is.
I mean,
It's just
I'm
not
sorry.
understanding what this is.
Well, I get the reaction. Like, yes, all 3 of those areas could be better this year, maybe should be better, especially special teams. That goes without saying. But like, again, it's the bottom line right now. And you don't need to make these spur of the moment emotional decisions about firing coaches unless it's absolutely necessary. And now you got to bye week. Now, if these things, again, we're talking about what? 5 block kicks in 2 games. Like,
trouble.
Yeah, that is the one
It's trouble.
that you're watching.
Yeah.
And if things don't get fixed coming out of a bye week, they have 2 weeks to try to get whatever's going on with all of those phases figured out. And if they continue, especially now that the schedule ramps up quite a bit here in the second half, then maybe you can continue with that discussion. But everything else, like, let's not get overly emotional on this.
No. Well,
Dustin Brown, you guys are the absolute best. Ugly today, but who cares? It's a win in the Big Ten. On to the next. Looking forward to game day in Columbus after we beat Indiana.
ooh,
I'm calling my shot. I think
Could
we'll
be.
see big noon kickoff
Hey,
at Indiana.
hey.
big noon kickoff.
So when I was at Big Ten Media Day for basketball, I heard from Indiana people that know like what's going on over there. And they said that going into the year, like Fox told them that they're already planning on that being a big noon game.
Oh, wow.
So unless something wild happens with Indiana next week, expect Nebraska, Indiana to be big noon game.
Which is great for us. I mean, on the road, I love 11 a.m. road games.
Yeah. Wow, big noon kickoff. So the crew will be there.
Yes. National spotlight.
And Ohio State's going to be a big noon or Steve. I mean, that will be a huge game too.
Yep, these are big road games ahead.
Luke Downing, $50 super chat.
Oh,
Thank you,
man, Luke.
Came in with the super. All right, we practiced punt protection all week, and Buschini still got a wrecked on punt number 1. Black shirts were lights out. With all this TV money, there isn't going to be an easy Big Ten game. So let's enjoy the 5-1. It sounds great. Shout out to Diego Pavia.
Okay.
Go Big Red.
Yeah.
All right. No,
Shout
you're
out
right.
Diego.
With all this, I mean, that's a good observation. With all this TV money, there isn't going to be any easy Big Ten games except for Purdue. So yeah, he's right. He's right. Back to the discussion about firing coaches. Come on, they're 5-1. Foley's Foley. There's trouble there. I mean, there's.
But he's
And
right.
I said going into the game,
punt 1 blocked.
yeah, I don't mind saying it. I said if they block 2, if Rutgers get 2, you might not be working on Monday.
It almost got their MVP of the game injured on his very first punt
right now.
because they couldn't block anybody.
We'll see what Rule says. We'll see what Rule says on Monday. I agree with you, Robin. Asking him about that sort of
he's
thing.
want the emotion to settle down a little bit after that. Because, if you ask him that question, he's going to be like overly defensive about it and probably won't give you a good answer. Anyway.
After a win,
It would not have come off well.
It wouldn't have been good. So you let things simmer down and have some time to actually evaluate what happened and then maybe have a clearer answer on it.
All right, Bowman 78. A win is a win. Buschini and the defense rocked. Why can't Nebraska put a team away? New special teams coordinator is Bill Bush. We are still going bowling, and I'll be there. Drinks still on me, gentlemen. Go Big Red. And look, Sip, can you put this to bed? I mean, you work with Coach Bush on the radio. Like,
it is not.
It's not. I mean, and what? I mean, he's a good coach. We all agree. But what did he do as a special teams coach that would like fix things now? Like their issues right now aren't going to be fixed like overnight.
Yeah, it's not an overnight fix.
They
He's a good
need
special teams coach.
They have snapper issues.
Yeah.
They have kicker concerns. And, Rutgers brought more people at Nebraska than they could block. And that's what led to these blocks.
I mean, it's a conversation because it'd be so convenient. I don't foresee it happening. It's sort of an uncomfortable discussion, but they got problems. So I don't know. I never rule out anything, but I'm not saying that that's going to happen because I don't think it will.
No, but it is a liability in the Big Ten when you can't really comfortably kick a field goal or comfortably punt. That's a problem.
To say the least.
That's a big problem. It's a big problem.
Very much so.
I mean, because you're going to have to punt and kick a lot.
I would like to think I mean, they're moving towards being able to kick field goals in a normal fashion.
Today, no, I mean, you couldn't kick. I mean, today was
right. You couldn't really tell today. But
you had to
PATs
be
look good. PATs look good.
You had to be inside the 10 to probably feel great about hammering a kick through.
What I'm trying to say is the operation on PATs has been okay. Okay. Second half against Purdue, they were okay. Today they were fine. Now listen, baby steps. That's a step in the right direction.
We're talking about successfully kicking an extra point.
Well, that's where we're at.
Take your wins where you can get them.
All right. Nate Auden comes in. And other than Buschini, special teams continue to be a liability. Bailed out by the D today.
Yes.
Another Bill Bush. Need Bush plus Buschini. Glad to take 5-1. That's progress. P.S. Nebraska's undefeated this year with Greg Sharp on the call.
Happy birthday to Greg.
Yes, happy birthday.
Yeah, and I'm glad that, Greg has not wanted a lot of recognition on the screen. I'm glad that they were able to do, for his birthday. Because, I mean, Greg is a special man, and we've known him for a long time. And
the Tom Rinaldi special on him today,
I teared up.
It was incredible.
Oh, he's a class dude, man. I mean,
stronger than
really tough to watch, but man, he's strong. Just got to root for that guy.
And he doesn't want sympathy. He is just grinding.
Yep.
Because this is what he loves.
He loves this.
He's doing what he wants to do right now.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad they gave him a win today. That's beautiful.
All right. Kyle comes in. Kyle Quinn. Dylan seemed a little bit shook after his INT, got to keep his head up and not reflect too hard on it. Keeping guys fresh on defense was a huge key to winning in the heat today. Go Big Red.
Good observation.
And we mentioned that. We noticed they were holding Nash on kind of like useless early downs. They didn't bring those guys out sometimes. They tried to rest them a little bit and then bring them in for the key moments.
Good observation. I don't know. Now, you guys were in the post game. How was Dylan?
Was Dylan?
Was Dylan
pretty calm?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't really, he's one of those not get too high, get too low guys. Right. I mean, he admitted, he was the first one to say, I needed to play better. He knew that he did not play well today, and that's it nearly cost them. So, but he's a confident kid. One bad game, I don't think is going to drag on too long, especially with the bye week to kind of get things right and just take a step back a little bit.
The bye week's good. It's comes at a good time for Nebraska.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Luke, happy to be 5-1. Dr. Raiola looks human this game for once. Counting my lucky stars for our defense. Also, honest question: what is everyone's rating grade for Gunnar Gatula this game? It's really hard to say.
Hard to say,
kind of without looking at the game over. When you're watching it live, you just can't. Like, I
tell that story all the time about Milt Teneper. When I was a young reporter, I'd run down after the games and say, Milt, how do you think the offensive line played? He said, I need to see that. I need to see the tape before I really say much about it.
It's good Milt.
Yeah. and that's it. That's the way the offensive line is. It's hard to evaluate on the fly.
And I guess just keep in mind, he was the third string for a reason. He's a young guy that just got thrown into the fire. So he's learning on the fly right now.
Yeah.
So is he perfect? Absolutely not. But for that situation being what it is, I think he's doing okay.
All right, let's get to Kurt's comment. You guys always bring it. Your show is must-see viewing.
Kurt.
Bottom line, an ugly win is still better than a good-looking loss.
Yes.
Go big.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
Well,
remember when Frost's team got beat at Oklahoma, and it was and people were like, it was like a moral win.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Remember being the best 3-9 team in the country,
or like when they beat when they lost Ohio State, and it was the same conversation. Mm-hmm. Boy, they look so good. They're getting close. They're getting close. Yeah, no,
I would rather. Yeah,
no, not
looking bad in a win will always be better than looking good in a
Rule
loss.
Is so interesting the way he addresses this stuff. He takes it so head on. Like, it's just he just addresses everything. He meets everything head on. Like, we're not going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
We got to close these games out, and I'm not going to let you get away with excuses.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's done some things. Oh, like today, you guys noticed it in not just the bull ring in warmups, but he made Buschini punt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so he gathers the team, and they get the live operation going with the punter. Now it didn't work. I mean, they got punts blocked, but that's all designed to say, hey, there's pressure.
Mm-hmm.
These are pressure moments. I'm not going to pretend like there's no pressure, because there's a hell of a lot of pressure. And Rule just is very he just strikes me as very real about everything.
All right, before we get
Like
to our
he would tell me I need a haircut, like you guys did.
Keeping it real.
Sipple, you look like Dana Holgerson.
You were going for
Skull
Dana. Sipple did have a Dana Holgerson look going for the last couple weeks. And I'm like, are you trying to go as Dana Holgerson for Halloween?
It looks much better.
Thank you.
Cleaned up. All right. Before we keep rolling, because we got more to get to, Husker Online Postgame Live, again, brought to you by the official postgame sponsor of the show, Zipline. We are all enjoying Zipline. Robin just cracked open a dear old Nebraska brew. That is the official beer of the Nebraska Alumni Association. We're also brought to you by Homefield Apparel. Check them out at homefieldapparel.com. They carry all of the custom stuff, all the cool stuff you see.
They just dropped a new line recently.
And, this is not just football stuff. They got basketball. They have volleyball. They have other teams as well at Homefield. And this is, fun, custom, vintage-looking things. Sipple's a big fan of some of the
jackets.
The 1980s-looking jackets.
They have those late 80s, early 90s jackets that are sweet.
It just looks like a jacket that Bob Devaney himself would have worn.
The shimmer, I don't even know what that fabric is, but I love that.
Hey, by the way, Washington just beat Michigan. That's a Washington team that lost to Rutgers last week. Okay.
Rutgers is no good.
Right.
Hey, Minnesota's up on USC 24-17 with less than a
but
minute to go in the
Minnesota's
fourth
no
quarter.
good.
Right. I'm glad that happened because you can tell people all week. Wait a second.
No, it's more fun stuff to be haughty about it, as you would like to say. Haughty.
Haughty.
But back to Homefield. We got a great deal. 15% off at Homefield. Use the promo code Husker24 at homefieldapparel.com. We're going to give you 15% off your order at Homefield Apparel. Thank you for sponsoring us here on Husker Online Postgame Live. Let's keep the super chats rolling. Scott Thompson, $50 super chat in here.
Hey, Scott.
So I love how the defense played most of the game, but teams that actually have offenses will tear us up.
Like Colorado?
How do we combat this? Or will we have a chance? Look, I think Nebraska's pass rush is good enough to get to every team they play. They can get to people.
Yeah, they can. When they play well. Oh, I mean, come on. We tend to undersell James Williams. He's big in this equation. If he keeps getting in backfields the way he has the last 3 weeks, really, that's a problem he's someone else. He's someone Nebraska's opponents have to look at now closely.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pain in the ass.
Hey, Princewell was dialing it up too.
Okay.
I mean, both those guys coming off the edges were causing problems for Rutgers.
Yep.
All right, let's fire through some more comments. Taylor Martin, I'm not sure Satterfield ran the ball up the middle enough. Another 37 times, and we may have had a first down. 5-1, though. Go Big Red. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Taylor.
Yeah, they're not getting much push up front.
No. Spencer TC comes in the super sticker. Thank you, Spencer.
Thanks, Spencer.
There he is. I'm going to call him Bangarang because that's what I always call him.
Bangarang in the house.
It's not Bangarang.
That's my
he embraced
deal,
it.
Sean.
Bangarang in the house. Need help within the special teams.
Yeah, we do.
We're just going to keep calling him Bangarang.
Good call, Bangarang.
Special teams. Ugh.
It'd be so much cooler if that guy's screen name was like a tribute to Kent Pavelka. Does he still say Bangarang?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's got it tattooed on his arm.
Does he really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Was there anything else notable in special teams today that we need to address?
Ramir Johnson really dodged a bullet.
Oh, yeah.
He tried to return that kick late, and then Rutgers got the late hit. That went from being 1st and 10 on the 14 to 1st and 10 on the 29.
Yeah, it helped.
Huge. That set up the punt for Buschini.
It was a late hit.
So that set up the punt for Buschini.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big.
It was. Wonder why he tried to
questionable
take that
decision.
Out. Yeah, why he tried to?
Maybe he was just trying to make a play, but
they were kicking into the wind, so maybe he was told that it was going to be a shorter kick in the wind.
Yeah. Rescued by a late hit.
Yeah.
Ivan comes in. Great game. That last year, I think we lose. Defense locked in, got us this victory when our offense could not move the ball against a great defense. Thank you, Ivan.
The black shirts, you can't say enough good things about them. Now, who played? We probably don't do a good enough job addressing this. Who played well besides James Williams? I'd say Isaac Gifford. Gifford's not had a great year at times, but he was big today. Didn't have a great game.
Singleton's been really quiet too.
Yeah.
We thought Singleton in the back was going to be a bigger force, and I haven't noticed him as much in games. I don't know about you guys.
He had 5 tackles.
That big hit on the goal line. on that goal line stand.
Okay.
when
Yeah,
they
he had
pa-
stand
passed in
corrected.
the flat.
So Gifford had 8 tackles today. Singleton
And he
had
struggled
5.
early. Hey,
Yeah.
Gifford struggled early. He
Early.
had 2 bad missed tackles and a penalty.
I'm a nun guy.
But then he had some big tackles.
He
late.
did.
Yeah.
He did. So he
Big
talk about
stops late.
bouncing back.
Deshaun Singleton had 5. James Williams had 5. We have to keep praising Sierra Wright. Sierra Wright continues to make game-altering plays. He was big. Buford had his moments and
He had an
then had some
interesting
really
day.
bad
Yeah.
moments.
I mean, think about when he fell down and that touchdown pass just bounced off the guy's hands.
Bounced off his helmet.
Yeah. I mean, talk
I
about dodging a bullet.
right. The linebackers, I'd say, played pretty well, wouldn't you?
Yeah, especially for the young guys that got as many reps as they did.
Shavers.
The fact they had freshmen out there.
Yeah.
You didn't see much of a drop off.
Okay, let's move into the next super chat. 1810 Pepper, and this name has some. It was a house I lived in college, so it's one of my friends. We lived on 1810 Pepper Avenue, right off 27th and Sumner.
Okay.
It's my friend Nick. He comes in. A win is a win. Take 5-1 all day. I'm tired though of hearing rules say it's the players, the kicker, the snapper, holder, now veteran blockers on special teams that are at fault. It's getting old. Foley has got to go now. Again, that's above our pay grade, and I think it's a deeper discussion than that. I mean, they have issues on special teams. Everybody agrees, but
It's a critical next 2 weeks for Ed Fulton.
I mean, here's the thing about it, if you just want to really get down to it. If you fire Foley, what's the plan?
Mhm.
I mean, what's the
how
plan?
does it get better?
Right. It could get better. Sean, now be careful with that. Because it does drive me crazy when people say, how's it going to get better? Then if you take that attitude too far, you never make a move on anything. I mean, so
But this is not Purdue last week.
if there's a way, no, it's not. If there's a way to get better, if you can show me a way to get better, if he believes there's somebody on his staff that can make it better, or that the head coach sometimes takes it over. Bo Pelini took over special teams one time. Remember that?
Well, they brought in Maher
Yeah, they brought in Maher. But remember when Bo took over special teams? Got
with
really good.
Jamrog involved.
Got really good. Now, I don't know. You'd have to show me a plan, not just we're removing the guy. I don't know. I just know that it needs to be addressed.
All right, let's fire through some more comments. Bowman 78. I guess Kyle, that guy isn't
Kyle,
so
that
good.
guy.
Huh?
Kyle,
So,
that guy's
Menante.
What a job!
after all, go big red.
No, I think he's pretty
He's
good. I think that guy's pretty good.
Nebraska just bottled him up.
Oh God, they did a great
Or
job.
just, by the way, all the super chats I've just gotten to, those were all before 9 o'clock. So we're on the 9:04 super. We're making our way through.
What's the number of how many people watch it?
We were at like 1,700 and change, I think was what our number. I'll see where we're at right now. I'll tell you. It says we were at 1,655, but we were about 1,750.
Hanging in there.
Holding strong.
Paul, my mind goes back to when Rule said in chasing 3 after Illinois, if they had won, NU would have lost a similar game down the road. 5-1, boys.
Oh wow.
And that's a good point. All right, Kodiak Bear. I officially have no idea what targeting is anymore, but I
Yeah.
love the win. And Desmond Howard is trash. My thoughts on Desmond Howard are the way they are.
Sean has some
Because
Sean has some Desmond Howard thoughts.
When he was here in 2019, he was just a complete
2019.
diva. Like, just they had a press session for the media, and they had the analysts all available, and they told us to be there at a specific time. He made the media wait like a half hour because he went to go eat. You know, and then he was not nice. Like, he was just kind of like stuffy.
Yeah.
Well, he also said Nebraska should leave the Big Ten not too long ago. So we know his.
He
feelings there.
said that they should throw their
Yeah.
out of the league.
Yeah.
Well, he was wrong today. Saban was wrong today, and who else was wrong?
McAfee. Now, McAfee's a Rule guy, so that surprised me.
That's kind of surprised me.
But Rutgers was 4-0.
Yeah.
They just beat Washington, who just beat Michigan.
Right. Thank God. That really helps this week when people try to mitigate. Is mitigate
Minnesota
diminish?
did
no,
beat
when they
USC,
tried to
but-
Minnesota won.
They won.
Wow.
Holy.
Upset
So
city.
Minnesota in back-to-back weeks gets screwed. Should have beat Michigan or taken it into overtime, but gets jobbed completely. Jobbed.
Love or hate PJ Fleck.
Oh God.
Like, the guy kind of figures it out.
And then they come back and beat USC. Wow.
I'm disappointed Nebraska doesn't get to play Minnesota. That's the
Me
first
too.
time Nebraska's not played them.
Yep. I am
Mhm.
too.
I mean, I like that series.
I do. I'm with you.
All right, Josh Mahoney. Huskers have played 8 halves against Power 4 teams, have been shut out in 3 of those halves.
Ouch.
Need to figure out the long scoring droughts.
Yep.
Thank you, Josh.
Not wrong.
Zelliot, 1299. Defense stood up when the QB had a freshman in the game. Lot to improve, but the bye is coming at a great time. Now just get that last win for a bowl game, and Huskers have 6 games now over 8 weeks. So
God dang. If you just can zoom out and think about this team as a whole, if you got that defense where you think it's where it was going to be this year, top 10 type defense, and you have Dylan, now you're back in kind of business, in my opinion. Now you're back in business.
which is, and then special teams kind of serviceable.
Yeah, it
just
can't be a total liability.
No, can't be. You're right. Not if they want to have the kind of season they want.
Mm-hmm.
Now that gets to the conversation. This is why head coaches make $9 million a year. You have to figure some things out during the bye week.
Oh yeah.
And it's not, you know what, in my opinion, now I don't know what rule would say to this. It's not an off week. There's too much to fix.
No, you don't have that luxury.
No, and both, like I can remember some Pelini years where Sean would back me on this, where it was when the bye week, it was like an off week. Like they didn't go hard. I don't think you can do that. I think you can take some time off a little bit, but there's so much to address right now.
Well, I don't think you can practice every day because you're only allowed like so many weeks of practice.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting Sean, I'm not suggesting they hammer on them, but there's a lot to do. Like, I just don't think it's, unfortunately for special teams, you can't really relax right now.
No, not at all.
No.
Jay Swizzlestick's always a great super chatter. If Nebraska makes the college football this year, I will pay for Sipple to retire early just because I love him.
Who is Jay Swizzlestick?
That's our
Jay
barbecue guy,
Swizzlestick.
right? No.
I need to know.
Or is that Big Red Smoke?
Yeah, it's Big Red Smoke.
I have to take that seriously, Jay Swizzlesticks.
Yep, hold him to it.
Sean doesn't want me to retire early.
Well, you don't want to retire.
What would the operation
would you
be
do?
without me? What?
If
What would you do?
Yeah, if you retired, what would you do?
Well, you'd be a truck driver. You've told me that before.
I mean, I don't have any hobbies. I don't. No hobbies.
If you're lucky, I'll take you to El Toro in Indianapolis next week.
We're not going to a tour. We're going back to Prime 47.
Oh, yeah. All right, BA Coaches Show. I'm here objectively to say Nebraska greater than Alabama. Okay.
Yep.
I'm here objectively.
Facts are facts.
Nathan comes in. Nathan Dieterman. Cheers. Made it to 2 games this year, Colorado, Illinois, and stocked up on my zip line.
Yes.
There you go.
Saw Sean as I was leaving South Stadium, and he lifted up to me. Does the
He
O
lifted me up.
lifted me up?
Not literally. If you did that literally, I'd be
Well,
really
Pick him up.
So
on.
I was on my walk over. That's when I call Lisa. Like
Did
that.
you pick this man up?
I saw several people walking over, but I'm on my. That's the only time I can talk to Lisa the whole game day. So usually that little walk over is when I make my phone call home and hear about the game and the soccer game and the day. So yeah, thank you, Nathan.
He asked a question.
Does the O get too conservative with leads in the second half?
My brother, Martin, texted me and said that's what he thinks. He thinks do they get too conservative with their play calling?
Did the pick lead them to being more conservative? Did the protection issues up front lead them to be more conservative?
Maybe. I don't know. I know this. They're not getting much up front. They're not they're not moving the line of scrimmage enough.
They're missing 3 of their top 7 linemen.
Well, and that's what goes back to, if you're going to be conservative, you better start producing in the conservative play calling. And when you're not getting anything out of your runs between the tackles, then you're either basically conceding a punt or you need to start opening it.
Why are we dancing around the Mazuka discussion?
I mean, I don't know.
He's
if
a
we have
backup,
it,
Sip.
because the head coach said we're making too much of it and that he's a backup player.
Well, I mean, when you came in for the short yardage situations, they ran right over it.
And there was push.
Right.
They converted 2 third downs, a 4th down, and scored a touchdown.
Running right over him. Okay, so the question I have for you guys is, do you put him back in the lineup?
I mean, they know more than I do, but
They see practice.
from my limited observations, just watching him, and I don't know what all the other backstory or other layers to this whole situation are, but from a
You know
pure
some of
football
it.
standpoint, to me, they are a better team when he's on the starting offensive line.
Okay.
They run the ball more effectively.
Now,
That's just me.
I have to give voice to this because we never talk about it. Real quick, Sean. There's that big hole in our there's this void in our analysis, and we don't see practice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we don't see the other things that happen to lead to Mazuka not playing.
Right. Again,
and that's a humongous piece of this discussion.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
There's a humongous piece of the story that none of us truly know, and that's why he's not playing.
There's a void, and I don't know. I mean, that's.
And he played today, and he played today.
He was good.
Critical snaps, and when Dowdell runs over 56. Looks pretty good.
It's like what you saw the first 2 games.
Yeah.
All right, Bruce Clausen. Enjoy the show very much. Sipple, how much for you to wear a wife beater tank top during next week's live show? 5-1, 1-score win. We happy now?
I'd like to analyze that. Why would you want me to wear a wife beater
on your Harley
tank top? Am I the type of person you would expect to wear a wife beater?
Mm-mm.
And your unofficial, your official handler, Missing Tooth Greg, he'll be with you, right?
I don't know. Probably.
He's your handler.
So. Yeah. Well, he's my fleet manager.
And your handler.
Yeah, and my handler. But I don't know. I'm not gonna probably wear a wife beater. I did at one time in my life, but no, I probably won't.
Not at Planet Fitness.
No, I do not wear a wife beater at Planet Fitness.
Do you rock the 5-inch shorts at Planet Fitness?
I do not rock. I don't even know what he's talking about.
The ones we bought in
what
Waco.
Are 5-inch shorts?
5-inch inseam.
Sipple mistakenly bought a pair of 5-inch inseam shorts at Target in Waco when he forgot all his luggage. And I said, I don't know if you can wear those suckers
in public.
Like, I don't think you can wear those.
A couple times.
Like, if I wore 5-inch inseam shorts,
it's a little different.
I'd be arrested.
You hit with some indecency charges.
Wow. No, I haven't been wearing them.
I still wear the 9-inch. They're getting harder to find though. People wear their short.
They are
all coming back.
It's all coming back to the 80s.
Yeah.
David Jorgensen, Big Ten, need for high-end position coaches. NU deserves above average coaches. NU wants to be 1-5 in the Big Ten, not 6-16.
Yeah. I don't know. They're 5-1. That's I don't want to have the staff.
Minnesota beat USC's highly paid staff today.
Right. Yeah.
Washington and a bunch of new coaches with new players just beat the
what are we doing? National champion.
Like, come on. Have some perspective.
Yeah. No, we've established that Foley, there's a microscope on Foley. There's no doubt about it.
And that has been Nebraska. I mean, Nebraska fans have always there's usually always one coach that they kind of gravitate towards. I mean, it was Cosgrove. It was this coach. It was that. I mean, that's just the nature of the fan base. They're really into the details of the program.
But this is not unwarranted.
No.
I mean,
no. There's issues on special teams.
Very much something that needs to be addressed quickly.
Well, I mean, it comes back down to this. You don't, like, if I'm Foley, I know the way I'm thinking. I do not want my operation to hold back this program. I would.
Right now, would you say it is? I mean, they're still 5-1.
Right.
But did they beat Illinois with?
Well, that's a good question.
With better special teams?
If you hit that 42-yard field goal in the fourth quarter and the defense holds, you win the game. I would say the special teams has already held back the program. Because it should, come on, it should be undefeated.
They should be 6-0 and a top 15 team.
Well, when you forget about last week's Purdue game. I mean,
right. Now it didn't hold.
They won despite 3 block kicks.
Yeah, they won despite it.
Today they won despite 2 block kicks.
Just to have meaningful discussion. You can also say that I wouldn't want to be the coach that the team is winning despite our unit.
Agreed.
You don't want to be that guy.
All right, Josh Mahoney can't afford to sit Sierra Wright whenever Hill comes back. He's
totally
earned playing time.
I agree.
He had 2 breakups today as well and an interception. One more to break this bowless streak. Love the show. And I told Sipple, I had a big rant about getting to a bowl and how important it is to get to 5 because it's one step closer to 6. I told Sip on Thursday, I want to be in Detroit or Orlando or Tampa, scurrying around with him because he forgot his luggage, having to buy clothes at Target or Walmart, at some coffee shop,
scurrying
at some coffee shop, trying to find a place to sit to work.
Yeah,
I want that.
Those were the days.
December.
Yeah, wanting some quiet.
But let's
at Starbucks.
Let's raise the goals higher than Detroit. This team's better than Detroit.
Yeah, Orlando was there again today. I mean, if they got to 7 or 8,
was there again?
The Cheez-It Bowl.
The Cheez-It Bowl was on hand.
Citrus Bowl, yeah, whatever they call it. I think it's called the.
What do you mean? There was a
Bowl
rep?
rep.
Yeah,
Were they wearing a sport coat that was sort of funky color? Probably.
All right. There's Coach Rule, by the way. Look at him after the game on BTN.
Yeah, look at him.
Look at
All right.
Simple.
Let's talk some ball.
Look at him. Megan's going to cut you off.
Megan, it's okay.
Spencer TC, glad we won the close game with multiple mistakes. Like to see the offense play a full game, and hopefully the week off will help the defense play great. But I can't have that happen every week. Go Big Red. Thank you, Spencer. Adam, pass game was the strength of the team. What do we think happened?
Okay.
The wind. I think the wind was a factor.
Okay.
I think the upfront issues were a factor.
Pass rush.
And in the field position.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of things, but it wasn't just one thing.
No.
Yeah. Sometimes the quarterback just has a off day, especially a true freshman. This was the first time Dylan had a real off day.
Yeah. Crypto King. What's the odds of the Huskers winning 10 games this season? I think it is possible.
No.
One game at a time.
I'm not going to go there. Let's get to 6.
Yeah.
Ben comes into the super chat. Thank you, Ben.
Ben?
Kyle, thanks for what you guys do, gentlemen. Never miss an episode. Did Monungai have 60 yards in the first quarter?
Yeah, 64.
That means the black shirts held him to less than 20 yards the rest of the game. Yeah. Huge win, 100.
That was the difference in the game.
Oh, God. I mean, that's
the way that game started. You're like,
it did. Now, if you're a Rutgers fan, you're saying in the second quarter, okay, you have the wind at your back, I guess. It's a swirling wind, but you go away from Monungai.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, they went away from him.
Strange.
It seemed like they did Nebraska.
They overplayed the wind. I mean, the first quarter, like, we're going to run into the wind, and then they started throwing with the wind. I don't think that wind was predictable enough, though, where it was like truly at your back.
Where you made that kind I totally agree.
It was a swirl.
I guarantee it, and it just goes to show you it happens in every fan base. I guarantee you Rutgers fans are saying that. Why'd you go away from the run?
Well, guess who's never coached in this stadium before? Greg Schiano.
Right. And people don't understand that. I've talked to, there's benefits to being old. I've talked to coaches over the years that say it's a weird stadium for wind. I mean, it is not predictable.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to read.
And then when they added the east wall, that's added to it. Mm-hmm. When they added the east stadium to make it bigger, that's added more swirl because you have literally like walls up in the air that cause the wind to circle.
It's not as simple as saying we'll have the wind behind our back in the first half and we're going into it in the second half. It's not that simple.
If it's a straight south or straight north, but today it went from a southwest wind, then it started to come out of the north.
There was a point when the flags on North Stadium were blowing east,
right,
and then the flags on South Stadium were blowing west,
right,
like simultaneously.
And these were the kind of games where Sam Foltz was just magical. Like Foltz could punt in a game like this really well.
R.I.P.
Kodiak Bear. Today's fans want 40-plus points a game, or it's a bad team. This was a smash-mouth football game, and it showed the team had real grit. I loved it. I think that deserves a 100, Steve Sipple.
100. That's where I come from. Sports are bottom line oriented. You're 5-1. You just got to win.
There are programs that like base their identity off games like this in the Big Ten. Iowa. Like, this was an Iowa football
Minnesota
game
plays
where, like,
that way.
nothing is pretty. It's ugly. They win with defense, and they make plays on special teams.
And that's what happened.
Yeah. I mean, Buschini being the
Buschini
plays.
was huge. I appreciate this. I appreciate this a lot, actually, because of the weather, because of the nature of the opponent. It's a tough game. I mean, I'm thinking about those guys out there at the end, those defenders that played all day long in the heat, have to make one final stand. And they looked unaffected. In fact, shout out to Corey Campbell. We don't talk about the team being out of shape.
There was no cramping today.
Right. And you know what else? You know what else we don't talk about? Oh, they got a rash of injuries. Is that a training thing? Are they being trained poorly? Are they not lifted enough? Nebraska's a pretty healthy team.
And they don't cramp.
Right. They weren't cramping.
Like Matt Rule.
Wasn't guys coming off the field.
They push the hydrate. They do urine tests every day on every player to make sure they're properly hydrated.
Yeah,
that's accountability.
See, that's the thing. I have a hard time with the whole we got to start firing coaches thing, other than Foley, because there's so much going on that's good. Like there's a lot of coaching going on right now, and I appreciate it. I come on, based on what we've covered since 2016, and now now Nebraska's a 5-1 team.
Mm-hmm.
I walked over here today just thinking, man, it just feels so much better covering a team like this.
All right, Nick, my Husker memories start with the Callahan era. That said, my best Husker memories as a kid were listening to games on the radio, hearing Sue.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
The big man.
Wonder
It was
if
nice to
Sue
hear
enjoyed hearing the crowd go, boo.
I love that.
What a time to be alive.
I love that. I love that they were chanting for Boomshini. Now remember, Boomshini had a big game last week too.
Yeah.
I mean, he was huge in that game, and you think back to that stick, that tackle he made to start the second half, how that electrified the sideline. Boomshini is playing really well right now. God bless him.
Brian comes in. Need to emphasize we've been positive turnover margin every game.
Correct.
Sean, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned that.
+6 on the year. Players have been holding on to the ball really well. Was the biggest topic of the summer. Remember, the only fumble on the year by Nebraska was Dante Dowdell against UTEP. It's the only fumble.
That's the only fumble.
Correct.
Didn't Dylan? Oh, Dylan hasn't lost. They've
But they've
fumbled
lost.
now.
They've lost.
Yeah.
And then Dylan's got 3 picks now.
Okay, now hold on. They're +6 today. They were +1,
We have
right?
Two,
Were they
two
+1
picks.
today?
2 picks for Nebraska. 1 pick for them.
+1. We don't. Yeah, that's another thing. Don't do this where we just gloss over that because
All the good.
we harp on it when it's going bad. Then we don't give it voice when it's going good. +6. That's progress. That is significant progress.
All right, my Michael Will, cousin of mine, actually chimes in here.
Is it?
Virginia. Yeah, he's in the military. Huge Husker fan in Virginia. How do I start a GoFundMe to buy out Coach Foley? God,
Cousins
I
bringing the heat.
love Michael and Taylor. Michael,
Okay. Hey, it's okay. Listen, it's okay that these fans pay a lot of money. They invest a lot of time. They invest a lot of emotional energy. If they're seeing substandard special teams, they want to give voice to it. God bless them. Do it. Fully should expect it. Any assistant. should
And when
expect
you're the unit that Nebraska's 5-1 in spite of,
Right.
there's something to be said
Yeah.
for that.
No,
That's why
there's nothing wrong with it. Don't never apologize for it.
you can, in a state of 2 million people, 87,000 were there today. You can't expect a crowd like that to show up if people didn't care.
Right.
And people care.
Right. And they're
Like-
seeing substandard special teams.
If you don't want to coach at a place like that, you shouldn't come to Nebraska.
Exactly.
I mean, this is the big leagues.
Yeah.
Tyler comes in. Should we actually be concerned about our offense and about Satterfield's play calling, or is Husker YouTube making us worry for no reason? Go Big Red 5-1. I think we've kind of hit on that, guys. Ross Clapham. Now that the win streak is secure, or the win is secured, am I crazy to say that I didn't mind the closeness of the second half, given for what it can do for the team's mentality, close games out going forward? And yeah, you make a good point. Nebraska's 1-loss score games that they've lost.
Yeah.
It's been one of the biggest stories of this program.
Right.
And they won today.
Now they're not back-to-back weeks. I mean,
It wasn't a 1-score last week.
no, it's not one score, but it was a close game. And Rule, the whole theme for Rule that was after that game was what? You heard Rule tell his team, we needed that. We need to show we can do this.
Mm-hmm.
They're showing it. There's a lot to be said for that. It's a program, Sean, you've said it a lot. It's learning how to win. You know what? It's not easy to learn how to win. It's
No
not.
doubt. Especially for a program that hasn't done nearly enough of it over
Right.
the last
It just
decade.
doesn't. You just don't press a button. And football's tough because there's so many people involved. There's so much that has to go right, and there's enough going right now.
Billiken beef. There have been so many games that we lost that we should have won. This was a game that we should have lost, but found
Yeah.
a way to win. And you're right. I mean, Rutgers had the momentum. They
They
blocked 2 punts.
In the fourth quarter, they had the momentum.
They held Nebraska's offense to nothing.
Yeah, they had the momentum.
And Nebraska's best play of the second half was a fake punt throw by a punter.
I'm gonna go with the 69-yard punt.
No, offensive play.
Oh, offensive play. Okay,
It was their best play.
that was a huge play.
That was 30 yards of like their total, 60, how many yards did they have in the second half again? It was
60 something.
So 30 of their 55 second half yards
55.
came from the Buschini
I'm
throw.
still freaked out by how well he threw that ball.
In with the wind behind him.
Yeah, still though. I mean, he threw a dart.
So he's a punter.
Yeah,
And he threw on a rope.
yeah.
All right, Ross. I don't know this one, what it means here. Forgot to mention that Delta Airlines loves Husker football. Go Big Red. Thank you, Ross.
Do they?
Okay.
CB, I thought on thoughts on IU? Who's IU?
Indiana.
Indiana. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Pretty obvious there, Rob. Thanks for the chip in there.
No problem.
They seem unstoppable. They seem unstoppable on O, but have had a soft schedule and essentially have a MAC caliber QB. But the Huskers likely will be an underdog. And I look at Indiana guys as like when Mark Mangino was at Kansas, and when he just kind of got them going. This is what Indiana reminds me of. Like nobody really took Mangino's team serious, and they just kept winning every week
Until they scored 79 on Nebraska.
76.
76. Anyway, I don't know what to make of Indiana. Their schedule has been really soft.
But they
I haven't seen
smoked
enough.
everybody they played.
Yeah, I haven't seen enough of them to really dial in on that conversation. Going out to the Rose Bowl and beating
Maryland. They beat Maryland.
Going out to the Rose Bowl and beating UCLA 42-13 get your attention for sure.
If they're playing bad teams, but they're rolling all of them.
Right.
So
Did they
what does
roll
that mean?
Northwestern today?
They pulled away.
Did they?
Yes.
And
They
beat
won by
Maryland.
2 scores.
They beat Maryland. That's a good win, Sean. You're right. They're formidable. It'll be really hard.
They won 41-24.
But I don't know if they faced a defense like Nebraska's. And I don't know that this game aside that they've seen a quarterback like Raiola. So
No, they have not.
they'll be challenged.
Scott comes in. Is it a concern that Dylan's feet aren't getting set to throw,
Yeah.
and he's always trying to throw the touch passes rather than firing it in there sometimes?
Yeah, a little bit. I'd say I'd like to see him hunker in, set his feet, and let it rip.
Just rip it.
Yeah, I'd like to see that a little bit more.
David, sorry guys, I did the other super chats before you started. I know we are 5-1, just an ugly 5-1. Too many quarters that have been wasted. Go Big Red.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that.
And Tyler Redwine, and by the way, I met Tyler's wife this week.
Okay.
Trying to remember where I talked to her at, but down go the Wolverines. Sip for president. Thank you, Tyler. And Tyler, we're going to be outside at Zipline, so bring the drone.
Ooh.
Bring the drone.
Bring the drone. I can't.
Especially
I'm not
'cause
going to
we
get on
didn't
that
get drones
Republican
tonight.
ticket this year, but maybe sometime in the future.
What's that?
Getting on the Republican ticket. He wants me for president.
Oh, you want to be on the Republic?
Yeah.
Independent.
Yeah.
No, Republican.
Okay, sorry.
Let's
Wow.
We just lost half our viewing audience.
Did
We
we
just went from
Robin,
50
it's fine. Don't get nervous. I'm not going to say
It's
anything else.
2024. I'm always nervous about
Yeah,
it.
Sherry comes in. We're 5-1. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Al Davis said it the best. Just win, baby. Go Big Red. Levi comes in. Any idea what time the USC game is going to likely be?
Oh, Sean's good at this.
We'll be at the game in LA and planning our trip. Sean is usually good at having an idea what time the game is going to be.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes.
Levi. So I think
TV executive.
okay, I think Ohio State and Indiana both could be at 11 a.m. on the road.
I think Indiana is like basically done deal.
I know at one point CBS preliminary had a circle on Nebraska UCLA. I don't know if that's going to happen now with UCLA's falling off the map this year, but that was at least at one point, I think, on track to be a 2:30 CBS. But again, that can change week to week. USC, it's their homecoming. You know it's not going to be an 11 a.m. I think the question is it going to be that 2:30 CBS,
okay,
or is it going to be the NBC 6:30 window, or is there even like an opportunity to put it later, which that would be bad.
Oh, God. That'll take years off. Yeah.
We can drive around Watts at midnight.
Wow, that'd be good.
Could go wrong.
Z-Fran, Rutgers D kept us out of the jet sweeps to Barney.
Yeah.
Seems like we've been figured out and may need to change those up.
They did.
Unrelated, can Barney sling it? One thing I'll say about Barney, though, he was a great decoy.
Yes. Yes. The Bonner touchdown, they used him as a decoy. Where
Great
they
call
sent
by
him in motion
Satterfield.
and they just threw it to Bonner right underneath him.
Great
Was that
call
a
by
pass,
Satterfield.
right, to Bonner?
Yes.
Great call by Satterfield. And I thought that Satterfield did do a good job of using Barney as a decoy. That was the counter. You knew after last week that Nebraska would have to adjust to defense's adjustments on Barney. They
All
did.
right. Caden, any recruits at the game? Yeah, they had a lot there. And I do think we're going to get possibly a commit tomorrow from somebody for 26.
Okay.
Stay tuned on Husker Online. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Tyler Redwine again. Down go the Trojans. Robin for vice president.
Wow. Sean's not on the ticket.
Ooh.
Maybe Secretary of State.
I don't get to leave Husker Online. They don't
Yeah,
want me
that's
to
true.
leave.
That's
true.
it.
Cody comes in.
We'll get things figured out.
What a day in college football. Vandy beats Bama.
Oh.
Washington beats Michigan. Minnesota beats USC. 10-2 is the ceiling for this team. Go Big Red.
God, that is a day. That is a day. Vandy beats Bama.
Yeah. Remember the quote from Saban about how like there's no easy games except for Vanderbilt? They played that over the loudspeakers as the team was celebrating on the field after beating Alabama. There's a clip of it
Me. When did Saban say that?
earlier this season.
Really?
Like on one of his TV spots. Ooh. Yep.
DeBoer has Saban to thank.
Yep.
Wow.
Thanks, coach.
Wow.
Micah comes in, getting ready for an annoying week.
Getting really annoying.
Okay, sorry. Getting really annoying. We get catered on every week, every review. What's a win? Wins a win. Go Big Red. Got the third zip line here, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think basically it's saying that every review does not go Nebraska's way, which
like the Dumb and Dumber guy trying to read the.
You need to focus.
Sean, lock in.
Chase Woodward. Nice pump by Bushini. Sean, Thursday Husker headlines is suddenly becoming so dramatic. You and Sipple going at each other over adding the SEC game. I was uncomfortable listening in my car. You guys are friends in real life, right? Look, we have determined nobody wants to hear Steve Sipple and I agree with each other and say, we're best friends. I agree with you. Great point.
To piggyback off what you said.
You know, a lot what Sip just, no, you want to hear kind of a little bit of a sparring match.
Yeah, we're sparring. But we're fine. And I just think Sean has some ridiculously bad takes.
No.
I'm joking.
We're pushing an hour and a half here, so I want to fly through.
Yeah, fly through.
Sean, I'm joking. Spencer, did 20,000 fans leave the stadium as the broadcast stated?
Ooh, what do you guys think?
I think the students left.
Yeah, their students cleared out because they'd been baking in the sun for 4 hours. I didn't blame them too much on that. That was a tough day. And they got there so early, too. I mean, they were there like 2 hours before kickoff.
Okay, guys, 97 degrees at kickoff.
Yeah.
Hottest game in the history in 40 years.
Yeah.
Hottest game in 40 years.
Yeah. No, the fans that came and stayed, and even the fans that came and maybe left early, I salute them still. I mean,
Mike wanted to know why no flyover today. I'm guessing the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Good point, Sean.
Pretty good jet streams to fly around in.
No, I got you.
Okay, let's go to Bowman 78. Okay, bring on Bill Bush to just help with special teams then. Rest up, smash Indiana, cheers, gentlemen, go Big Red, wearing my Sioux jersey. I'm just gonna why do fans like what is it you think people think
Bill has it, Sean, be careful. Bill has a great record coaching special teams. He's a special teams coach for a lot of his coaches.
No, I understand that, but like why do people think that would be an instant fix?
I don't know. I don't know about that. It's just that he's here. You know, he's not working. He's right down the street. He's not working in the profession. So that's what it is. And he's visible.
It's just, and he's on the radio.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a common take.
I know. I don't know. It's kind of uncomfortable, right?
Yeah, because Bill understands. Like
it's uncomfortable. I hope people understand it's kind of uncomfortable for Bill too.
And he's a great coach, loves Nebraska.
Right. Does. That's the bottom line.
I think it's the convenience of it, that he's a known commodity. He lives here in Lincoln. He's public. Like people know where he is. Like it's the easy conclusion to draw that Nebraska special teams struggle. There's this guy that I listened to on the radio Monday through Friday with my friend Steve Sipple. Like, why not just bring him in?
Right.
All right, Matt, a little disappointed in the student section today, but happy to be 5-1. Ooh. David Jorgensen wanted to make sure we knew that Tennessee just lost.
Wow.
Yes. Arkansas beats Tennessee 19-14.
Wow.
So on a day that many of the experts predicted chalk, they were wrong on every one of these games.
And
wow.
Cal's beating Miami right now, 14-7.
Wow. These are wow scores. On a week that this was not a marquee weekend for games.
It was supposed to be kind of a chalk weekend.
Right.
I mean, game day picked to go to Cal because they didn't know where else to go.
How about that? How about those scores you're sharing? Tennessee goes down. Wow.
All right. And
6 top 25 teams lost today.
So now apply that to Nebraska.
7 with UNLV.
So do you think this enhances their chances or not?
I would think so. I mean, they were still, like 30th or something like that in the receiving votes
but some
category.
Of these teams like Tennessee are not going to drop out.
Yeah. But the ones you look at are UNLV and Louisville at
Right.
22 and 25. Like
Yeah.
that creates some space.
Yep.
Well, if Colorado beats Kansas State, would Colorado actually be ranked at that point?
Yeah.
But then Nebraska should be ranked.
Yeah.
I think.
We have 2 weeks though. Like I think by the time we get to Bloomington, this will be a ranked on ranked game.
I'm on ranked story duty tomorrow morning.
You are.
Yep.
Finally, Tyler, our last super chat. SEC, about time you grab the Crown Royals, boys. Jesus, I don't know what that means.
Jesus. I think he meant Jesus. Jesus.
Jesus. Okay.
No, he meant-
Well, guys, that was fun.
Yeah, interesting.
Oh, did we get any more? Okay, no, we're done. I thought
we
I had
miss
another one.
anything?
Nope, I think we got them all. So
But do we miss any topics?
we'll hear from Rule Monday.
Yeah.
And I do like that about Rule. Like so a lot of times we go into bye weeks doing this job for 25 years, kind of not knowing if we're even going to be able to talk to the coaches. We're going to hear from Matt Rule on Monday again. So that a lot of the things that you might want to hear aren't appropriate to ask after a game. You might be able to ask him some more things on Monday.
And he'll spend 30 minutes with us. I mean, yeah, he's remarkable that way.
So it will be a great bye week. Again, join us at Zipline in Fallbrook at the restaurant there and tap room. We are going to be there for a 6 o'clock live show. No charge at all to attend. We will be outside on the patio. They're going to have tons of seating, canned beer for sale
Canned beer.
outside, tap beer for sale inside, full menu, tacos on special, prizes, free prizes as well that you'll be able to win out at Zipline. So please join us.
Prizes? Really?
Yeah, they're going to spin the wheel.
Really? Mid-season review. I like that.
So we'll be at Zipline for the HuskerOnline mid-season review on Thursday at 6 o'clock. Thank you for joining us. For Steve Sipple, Robin Washett, I'm Sean Callahan signing off for HuskerOnline Postgame Live.